Hey guys, welcome back to Sweets with Mer. This is my little baby Theo. So since Christmas special is done, we're going back to our regular programming. So just doing some regular videos. I'll be coming up with some new specials. For Valentine's Day, I'm going to do something special. So today I'm going to be doing a macaron video. I haven't done one in a while. My first ever video was a macaron video. So I decided that today I'm going to be making another one. So today I'm going to be making an actual Reese's peanut butter macaron. I actually really love peanut butter. It's one of my favorite things to eat. So I decided why not do a Reese's peanut butter one, because who doesn't love Reese's peanut butter? I also want to thank everybody that followed me and subscribed to my channel and entered to win my contest. Congrats to Rambo and Jasmine. I hope you guys liked the gifts. Let me know if how you guys felt about them and if you guys liked it and if I should do more contests. I actually was thinking about doing another contest, but later down in the road when I reach 1,000 followers. So if you guys keep on subscribing, keep on liking my channel, watching my videos, I'll be doing another contest and an even better one. So I'll be announcing that soon, but once I get towards closer to 1K followers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay tuned. Thank you guys. Alright, so the first thing we're going to get started with using is our food processor. If you do not have a food processor, you can always use your sifter. If you don't have a sifter, you can always buy that at a local Walmart or Walgreens, wherever you can think of where you can buy baking supplies. So what we're going to add in here is our almond flour. So this is the one that I use. It's super fine. It's super fine. Nature's Eats. It's almond flour, and I buy this at Walmart. So we're going to do 1 cup of almond flour. And then half a cup of almond flour. So we'll set that aside. Next, we're going to be taking 2 cups of powdered sugar. And since we're making a Reese's peanut butter macaron, we're going to be taking some cocoa powder just to make it a dark chocolate rich color and also to have that chocolate flavor. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of the cocoa powder. I'm using Hershey's Cocoa, naturally unsweetened. You can buy this at Walmart, like I said. There's 1. So since you have more than the confectioner sugars and almond flour in there, and then you also have the cocoa powder, you want to make sure that you're sifting that through very well. Get it very fine. So we're going to be mixing this for quite a while, for actually a couple minutes. So let's start mixing. And we're going to do it on the high speed. So I let this sift through for a couple minutes. It was actually about like 3 minutes that I let it sift through. I actually went back in because it does get stuck to the bottom, and I cleaned that out a little bit just so it's not stuck down there and that it all gets sifted in through together. So I'm going to do that one more time, and then I'm going to transfer it over into my bowl. Alright, so I have my bowl here, and I'm going to transfer this in through, and I'm going to actually sift it out through one more time just to make sure that it is granulated fine down and that I don't have any big pieces that will cause a problem when I go through and start folding. As you can see, there's big chunks in there. You can actually take them and mush them up, but I'm just gonna leave them like that because I feel like they feel more greenier when they're like that. So I actually just throw those away. Okay, and so whatever's left in here is usually just big chunks, and like I said, it's super grainy, so I don't really like it in my mixture. So I'm gonna actually just throw this away. That's why I always add 2 cups of the powdered sugar and then 1 and 1/2 cups of the almond flour. And then we added the 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, so it leaves more excess of the ingredients. So if I do this and I do throw it away, I still have enough ingredients in my bowl. So the next thing that you'll need is your spatula and your bowl, and then 2 eggs, room temperature. Make sure that they're room temperature. I actually have been making macaroons for a while now, and I like to watch other people and how they do their macaroons, and I actually started watching the Scranline, which is actually one of my favorite bakers, and he actually taught me a different way of doing these macaroons, and a kind of much more simpler way that he does it, and it actually worked out a little bit better for me than the way I did it before. I didn't have a really droopy batter, and I wasn't over mixing. So what we're going to do is, in our dry mixture, we're going to be putting in our egg whites. Not egg yolks, but the whites. So make sure it's only the whites that are mixed in. So if there ever comes a time where you do want to make this and you don't have the time to make it, or you came home really late, I always put my eggs in like lukewarm water, and it kind of gets them to room temperature. Usually I leave mine out for a couple days, and that will give them into room temperature. So these have been out for about 2 days, so they're at the temperature that they need to be at. But you want to make sure that your eggs are at room temperature and not cold. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix this egg mixture in, and we're going to mix it into our powdered, to our dry ingredients. It may not seem like it's going to be enough, but it will at the end. And you'll find that out once you get to mixing everything. I love making macaroons, but the one thing that I do hate is mixing, because it does make my hands hurt. I have a lot of hand problems, so this does make it a little tougher to do it the right way. Okay, so this is what your mixture is going to look like. It's going to look a little wet, but it's going to still be your dry ingredients. So you're just going to set this aside. I usually cover it with saran wrap, as he says in his videos. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to set that aside and make my egg white mixture. Alright, so we're just going to cover that and then put that to the side. All right, so I did make a little mistake and I let a little egg yolk get into it, so I do have to start over. Luckily, I already had some eggs that were room temperature, so I didn't have to wait. I always make that mistake where I get the egg yolk into it. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult, especially if they're room temperature. If they're a little bit too warm, they will be really runny. So it will be a lot more easier for the egg yolk to rinse into your batter. Okay, so like I said before, you're gonna have 1/3 of sugar and then some vanilla extract. So we're going to be mixing this until it becomes a frothy mixture. So you'll see a lot of bubbles and you'll see it turn like a white. Okay, so I mixed that on high speed. If you open it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. When I say frothy, you'll see a lot of bubbles. So this is where you're gonna wanna start adding in your mixture of the 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. So you're gonna wanna add that in by intervals, so you don't wanna add it in all at once. And then we're going to be adding in our vanilla extract. If we were doing a different one, we could do like a different flavoring, but since we're doing Reese's peanut butter, we don't wanna add a different flavoring so it tastes weird. Okay, so now I added the rest of the granulated sugar, so you're just gonna wanna mix that until you form high peaks, which I'll show you that when it gets to that point. So we're gonna add in a little bit of vanilla extract. I would say less than a teaspoon. And then just let that mix until it forms peaks. So I'm just gonna clean the sides up just so all the sugar gets into the mixture and the vanilla extract, anything that's on the sides. So we're just gonna check it out. And it's still really droopy, so we're gonna mix it more. Okay, so we're almost close to our peaks. As you can see that it's sticking and it's not drooping down. And so if you look at it, you'll see the peaks that it's formed. It's still not there yet, so we're gonna mix it for a little bit more. All right, so this is what you'll need. Your soft peaks, and then you have your peaks inside, and if you flip it over and nothing falls out, that means you're done. So I'm just gonna put this back on just so I can take this off of here. Gently take it off. So we're gonna take our mixture back and bring it over here, and we're gonna add this mixture into the dry mixture. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding in intervals. So we're not gonna add in all at once. Okay, and like I did before, we're just gonna move that in. At first, it's gonna be really difficult to get everything into place, but just keep mixing and you'll get there. So I just added the rest of my egg whites into my dry ingredients, and I'm just gonna finish off by mixing that. You wanna make sure that you have sort of a molten lava effect going on with your batter. So this covers more of like sweeping the sides, sweeping the bottoms. I like to go over it with the edge of the bowls and just keep mixing it inwards till I can get that effect. So you always wanna check. And it's almost there, but you want to make sure that it just keeps drooping and there's no stopping, and then it just falls into your batter like it's normal. All right, so we're good. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a baking pan and some baking sheets like parchment paper or actual macaron placements. I actually just got some new ones, so I can't wait to show you guys those. And if you guys are interested, I will put the link down in the description where I got them. So my baking pan, and these are my new baking sheets that I got from Amazon. They're from Hot Pop. I like these ones so much better than the ones that I used to use. They actually do come off easier off of these placements than they did from the other ones, because before I used to get hollow holes into them, or they just wouldn't come off and they were stuck. So I like these ones better because they're already non-stick, so I don't have to put anything on the placement pad and it just goes on smoothly. Okay, so we all know what comes next, which is our piping bag, our round tip. I actually got a smaller one. I actually wanted to try and see how a smaller one would come out. And then our bowl where we're gonna place our piping bag into. You wanna make sure that you measure out where you're gonna cut so you can place your piping tip in. So you wanna make sure that you cut a hole big enough for your piping tip. I actually got this one from Hobby Lobby. I think it was like 99 cents that I paid for it. And it's from, I believe, I want to say Sunny Side Up, which they carry a lot of. Okay, so great, it fits. So now we're going to put our piping bag into the cup and we're going to place our batter into there. And even though I've been making macaroons for a while, I still am learning. I still make a lot of mistakes when I'm actually making macaroons. I've had a lot of failed trials. I've had, you know, a lot of those times, and it does get frustrating, but I always overcome it and I always try to keep perfecting my work. Like I told you guys, this is one of my dreams. I love baking. I want to bake for people all the time. So this is my one chance of doing it. I love baking and I usually bring all these baked goods to work and they love it too. You know, who doesn't love baked goods? All right, so we're just gonna place this and we're gonna pipe it into our placemat. Okay, and I like to pipe it into up till the first circle so it has space to spread out when you tap it at the end. And like I told you, tapping at the end is very important because you want to make sure that you get all those air bubbles out from the macaron. I think when we're making macarons, it takes a lot of patience because it took me a long time to even perfect one macaron, let alone a whole batch. So what I like to say about macarons is if you can do it, then you could do about just anything. This I tried to do a couple years ago and I've just liked baking them ever since. So this is what I've been doing. You know, I like to try out new recipes and this is one that I've been wanting to try out, and I really like Reese's peanut butter. So I thought, why not make a macaron that resembles it? So you're gonna wanna tap it on the bottom and just make sure that you get all those air bubbles out. And they will spread out a little bit. They won't spread out too much. So you just want to make sure that you get all the air bubbles out. All right, so I set my macarons to the side to cool down for a little bit. Not cool down, because they didn't even go into the oven. To actually harden. So you're gonna wait about 30 minutes to an hour until you can touch them and they don't resemble onto back to your finger. So right now what we're going to be making is the frosting for the middle of the cookie. A paddle, because you're going to be working with butter, and butter is more of a thick consistency. So I put 1 stick of butter and then 1/2 cup of our peanut butter. So we're going to mix that until combined. So now if your butter is actually at room temperature, this won't take long to do. And I'm just going to run it down through the middle. And we're going to set that back down there. Next thing we're going to be adding is 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. Alright, so now we're going to mix that in. And you want to do that a little slowly because powdered sugar gets all over the place really quickly. And powdered sugar is what's going to make your consistency thick and more able to go into the middle of your macaron. But you're not going to stop here. So next we're going to be adding 1 cup of heavy cream to thicken the to thin out the consistency a little bit. We don't want it too thick. And then we're going to be adding some vanilla extract into the mixture. Not a lot. If your consistency becomes too thick or too thin, you can either add more heavy cream or you can add more confectioner sugar. Now I'm just going to take my spatula again and go over in through the middle and just run it along just to make sure that I get everything incorporated all together. Okay, so we're going to give this one good mix one last time. All right, and that should be good for your filling. So what would be a Reese's macaron without some peanut butter frosting? So this is what you have made, and it's a thick enough frosting to fit in the middle where it won't drip out. And I'm just gonna set this to the side. I'm actually gonna put this in the refrigerator for a little bit until my macarons. All right, so my macarons are actually to the point where I can put them back in the oven. So if you touch them, they don't go on. So I'm gonna put them in the oven at 315. I'm gonna put it on the bottom rack for about 10 minutes, maybe even less. I don't want them to brown too much, so I'll be coming back when they're done. All right, guys, so the final part of the video, I took them out of the oven. I had them in there about for 10 minutes. I put it at 310 and I put it at the lowest level of the oven just so they don't burn at the top. What I also did was take these Reese's peanut butter chips and I melted them, and then I just took like a little smaller piping bag, and then I just piped peanut butter filling onto the top of it. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're going to be taking your frosting and we're just gonna start frosting them. So like I said, I like this mat a lot more better because it's easy to take off because it's non-stick. So it's much more easier to make them, and they don't come out hollow. They don't come out stuck to the thing, so they just come out perfectly fine. So we're just gonna pipe those. And then just sandwich in the middle and you're all set. And you got some peanut butter macarons. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment.